Welcome back to ATM10 Lite. I'm Popstar, and now that we have all the modium, we can finally access the mining dimension. But before we do that, we need more power. So today we're scaling up our wind generators and using ender pearls to push them up to build height to get the most out of them. It's not much, but it's going to help us power up everything that we need moving forward until, well, we probably get into power 4 actual power. Once this power is handled, we'll head straight to the mining dimension. And before we get started, I have a few things to show you. So I did a little decorating, and I made some stuff look a little nicer. I built this odd structure with our nether portal, and thought it looked pretty cool. It looks a lot better at night with all the soul lanterns. But yeah, I was just kind of in the groove of building and was having some fun. And then off in the distance here, well, I built a factory and moved all of our Mekanism stuff into it, as well as some of these, roads here and some lanterns and stuff to light up the area. So if we come in here, there's a hole, but all of the stuff that I used for building, I'll put here. And then I have our little ore tripling setup right here and our other Mekanism machines. I also put speed and energy upgrades in all of these, just 2 each to make sure they were sped up and being more efficient. But we're still running into power issues here. I have the wind generators that we were using up on the ceiling for now, just so that way they have a little bit more height to give us some more energy. And then down below here, this is going to be probably our storage room. And for now, I just set up some simple compacting drawers and some regular compacting drawers connected to our storage controller to just have all of the stuff right here. That way, if we need a block, we can grab a block. If we need an ingot, we need a nugget, it's all gonna be here. So I did a little bit of planning ahead because, well, in order to utilize the mining dimension, we need a few extra things first. And one of those is going to be power, because this just isn't cutting it. We can process everything, but it's very slow. And in order to speed that up before we can move on to more ore duping, we want to get more power so that way that thing is running at its max capacity, as well as having power for the mining dimension, because what we're going to use does use a good amount of power, so we just need to be careful about that. So the big ingredient that we're missing right now is going to be blaze powder, because we need some eyes of ender, and well, we really need 3 of them in order to do our Flux Networks so we can put everything in the sky. So we need to go to the Nether and find some blaze. So it's been a little bit since I've been in here and really played this mod pack, because I've been playing all the mods a lot and just kind of editing what I already had recorded. But I've been itching to get back to this pack. I don't know why I'm enjoying it so much, but I am. But we're going to go ahead and RTP here and hope for the best. Okay, there is no way. So in the All the Mods pack, I RTP'd when we were looking for a fortress and spawned right next to one. And I think I just did that again. Right next to a blaze spawner. It doesn't even need to be a fortress. This is crazy. So let's see what we got. Some arcane spells, some coal, and some decent legs. Magma walkers. Some quartz. Definitely will take that. Yeah, we'll leave the rest there. This may not be a fortress, but it is a blaze spawner, which is exactly what we're looking for. This is just insane luck. That's crazy. So we're gonna farm this a little bit just to get some blaze rods, but we're going to take this blaze spawner. We have a pickaxe with silk touch that we got from our village traders, so we're going to do that. So that should be enough blaze powder for now. So let's get our silk touch pickaxe and let's pick this up. And if we take a look at the map here, we have another fortress right over here. I wish we had a waystone, so that way we could just set this up over here. This was an awesome spawn. Sometimes RTP really comes in clutch. Let's do a little bit of exploring real quick. Is this a magma cube spawner too? Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to kill all those. We're going to let them stay there. I don't want to chance it. I want to check out this fortress just to see what kind of loot I can find. Yeah, it looks like this is a fortress that just kind of spawned in the middle of other biomes and mixed with things, but you know, I'm here for it. I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this. As well, we'll need Nether wart eventually. And let's take the soul sand as well. Got ourselves another spawner. You know what? I think we've explored enough. We got what we needed, so let's head back home. So now that we have what we need, let's go ahead and make some Eyes of Ender. We need 3 of them. And now we need to go down to bedrock. Now that we have some bedrock exposed, we can throw some redstone dust here. And if we put obsidian there and punch it, that should give us flux dust. And we have another piece of obsidian left here, so we'll go ahead and take that back. And now that we have flux dust, we can now make flux cores. And we're going to need 12 of them, as long as I did my math correctly. So we have 12 flux cores. We're going to need to make a flux block. And right there is where I did not do my math. So let's grab some more redstone and make some more flux dust. Alright, now that we have that, we can make our flux block. And then we can now make a flux plug and a flux point. And with that, we can take our ender pearls and some wool. Of course, we need more wool, so let's go shear our sheep. But now that we have this secured, we're going to go ahead and drop down here, break out this block, and let's put a white elevator there and a white elevator there. So now when you're standing on top of this, you jump or crouch, you can go up and down the elevators. So for our last elevator, we're going to build straight up to build height from here, this spot, and yeah, and make a giant platform to put all of our wind generators on. So let's make sure we grab plenty of blocks to build with, and let's get going. Okay, and just like that, we are at build height. We are 312 blocks high. I think we could probably go up 1 or 2 more blocks, but we're just going to go with this for now. And we have 11 wind generators, so we're going to put down, I think, about 10 of them. You know what? We'll do 9 because that just fits perfectly. Then we're going to put some energy cables to connect all of them together. And if you take a look, these are now powered at 190 FE with an output of 384 FE a tick. So that's quite a bit more than what we had down below, which is 56 FE. So, you know, pretty big difference. We're going to take our flux plug and place it right here, so it's connected to this whole thing, and right click on it. And so we need to make a new network. So that'll be LOL Bumpstar's private network, and let's go ahead and make that light blue. And then we just click on that, so that way it's saying, hey, this is going to our network. And now this plug is going to take all of the power that is being generated here and push it out to a point. So since we have the plug here, let's come down here and take a look. We have our energy cube here. So what we can do is put our point right on top of it, set that to our network, and now that's going to start taking all the FE that we're producing up there and pushing it into this cube. So instead of having to run cables everywhere, we can just use these flux points to transfer everything. And we're going to go ahead and set this to power surge and bypass limit to just make sure that it's pushing everything it possibly can into this. We have this whole area chunk loaded already. And I built this smart where these are just in 2 separate chunks and have that chunk loaded, which normally I'm really bad at doing, but I just, for some reason, actually remembered this time around. So now all of this should be able to start getting power. So let's go ahead and put all these cables back in because it broke all of them when I was removing the old wind generators. And let's take a look. This thing is filling up with power, which means we're actually going to start being able to get more than enough oxygen, especially as we start giving this some speed upgrades. And generally speaking, you want to keep this one higher speed upgrades and energy upgrades than the other machines, so that way it can produce more oxygen, because if not, we're still going to be running pretty low, so this stays kind of slow. So now it's time to get ready to go to the mining dimension, so that way we can mine in there and send it directly into this to start tripling, which means resources are going to be a lot easier to come by. So let's do it. So now that we have all of that set up with our power, we have a couple different things that we're going to need to craft. And the first thing that we're going to need is the teleportation pad, which is going to require 1 ender pearl and 4 all-the-modium nuggets. So let's go buy an ender pearl. And then with that ender pearl, we make our teleportation pad. And now this teleportation pad, we can put down anywhere in the overworld to get to the mining dimension. So let's figure out where we're going to put it. And I think we just put it right here. All we have to do then is shift right click it with an empty hand. And that teleports us to the mining dimension, which is a super flat world, is filled with ore. It starts out with grass and dirt, then moves to stone, then deep slate, then netherrack, and then end stone. So you can get quite a bit in here, and you can build in here all you want. It's pretty nice, and mobs don't spawn in here either. So if you're just looking for a nice cozy place to build, this can work out. So before we start utilizing this mining dimension though, we need a way to mine all those ores, because we could just dig down and start mining it ourselves, but that's, you know, a lot of work. Or we can set something up to do it for us. So let's head back home and do that. So the next thing that we're going to need is called a builder. And this is from RF Tools. You can also do the Mekanism digital miner, but to make this, it requires vibranium. And well, that's a lot to get to this. And it's very good. It has a lot of good options into it. It does use a ton of power, but it's a solid option. It's just a late game option, where the builder is a lot easier to make. The builder is still going to require some all-the-modium nuggets, some blocks of redstone, an ender pearl, and then a machine frame, which is super easy to make. And now that we have all this, we can make the builder. Then we're also going to make the machine infuser. If you have dimensional shards, it is worth making this. If not, you can get away without using it, but we're going to make that. Because what we can do then is set up this machine infuser on our power, and then we can put the builder in here and put our dimensional shards in this, and what it will do is it'll reduce the amount of power that's required to run the builder. Obviously the higher infused percentage the better, but we're just going to use what we have to at least get a little bit of value out of it. And now we're going to want to make a shape card. And we're going to use the clearing quarry. So with this, we need to make all the other steps. So the first step is a standard shape card. We're going to need some iron, some redstone, and some paper. And that makes the shape card. And then we need to make the quarry card, which is going to be some redstone, some iron, and a gold or a diamond pickaxe and a diamond shovel. And then lastly, we're just going to take that quarry and we're going to surround it with some glass to make the clearing quarry. And then we're going to make a filter module, and that's going to require a hopper, 2 redstone, a piece of paper, and iron. So now we have our filter module. And we don't necessarily need this, but I'm going to show you how to set it up just in case you want to. And then lastly, we need ender chests, because we need to get the items from our mining dimension over here. And to do that, we need to use ender chest. So that means we're going to need blaze rods, some obsidian, some wool, a chest, and another ender pearl. And unfortunately, we only have 3 blaze rods, and we're going to need 5 more. But we do have our 2 apothic spawners here, So I think that means next episode we're going to have to start setting up our blaze spawners. So for now, we're just going to use a regular chest and just start filling that up and manually move the ores until we don't need to anymore. So now that we have everything except for our ender chest, I think it's time to head to the mining dimension. So once you get here, make sure to turn on your chunk borders. To do that, it is F9. And I normally go to the second one, which is grid, so that way you can just kind of see the full chunk here. And we want to make sure we're placing the builder in this first chunk because we're going to need to chunk load this. And to do that, you come up to the top here for the Feed the Beast chunk map, and then hit the claimed chunks. And we're going to go ahead and claim this chunk that we're standing in. So now let's go ahead and place the builder down. And we're going to need to give this some power. So we're going to run 2 power cables here. And then we're going to use the 2 wind generators that we didn't use earlier to power this. This is not going to be enough power to keep this thing running non-stop. It'll be really slow because it's going to take a while for it to fill up. But we are at 254 in terms of the Y height. So these are running pretty strong. So now what we're going to do is first I want to show you the filter card. If you use this and you use an add tag, type in ores, you can set this up so it's going to only mine ores. And you can also set this up to do specific ores. So if you only want black quartz, it's only going to mine black quartz. If you only want diamond, it's only going to do diamonds, dimensional shards, so on and so forth. The big thing to keep in mind is this will not mine all the modium. So if you set this to mine all the modium, it's just going to mine it and void it. I'm not going to use this filter card because I would like to be able to see my all the modium. So we're actually going to have this completely destroy full chunks of land to be able to see all the modium floating around, so we can just come and manually mine that. So we need to take our shape card and we want to shift right click onto our builder. And now it's saying we need to select the first corner. So we're going to select this corner right here. And then we're going to just run probably about 3 chunks over. And we'll just do right here. The one thing that we will need to do is adjust some of the Y values, and you could just dig straight down to get to where you want to go. But what we're going to do is manually set it. So if we come into the builder here and we right click it, it places the shape card in here. And this item here does the support preview. So if we take a look, I think it was this corner, right? Break that out. Let's turn the support preview on and off. You can see that this is now filled with a support block. So that is showing us that that is going to be mined. So if we turned it on right now, it would only mine this first layer all the way to the other corner that we clicked. What we need to do is take this out and we need to set these dimensions. So let's go ahead and set this dimension to 144. And let's place that in and turn the preview on. And now you can see it's going all the way up. And it's also going to go all the way down. So we want that corner to show up here again like it was before, but that means everything underneath of it is also going to be cleared. And to do that, we have to set the offset. And actually, we're going to do -144, and then we're going to double that to 288. Now, if we push that in here and we turn that on, you can now see that this is going to be right here and everything underneath. So if we break two more down here, and let's go ahead and turn that preview back on, you can now see that it was blue, but I just broke it instantly. But anyway, so we have that set up. So let's turn the preview off, and then we need to put a chest on top of this so it has a storage somewhere to put everything. And then let's go ahead and turn this on. Actually, we need to set this to ignored first, or you can put a switch on here so you can turn it on and off. But we're going to go ahead and just set that to ignored and push start. And as you can see, chunk by chunk, it is going to start clearing everything out. And everything that it clears is now being put into this chest. And now another thing that we can do is let's go ahead and stop this. Let's take our shape card out And if we right click it, we can have this set so it voids all of these tags. And I believe now that means that when we start it, nope. All right, let's stop again. I think if we just hit void here, put that back in and now push start. There we go. Now it is voiding all of this cobblestone, all of the dirt, so we don't have to worry about it picking those up. Let's see, we're at 5 iron. And once it gets there, we should be at more. And there we go. We're now at 7 iron. So it is going to mine everything that it possibly can. But it will not mine all the modium. So we're just going to let this run over time and come back and fill up our bag with ores and process them all. So another thing that I would suggest doing is getting some stack upgrades for our chest here. Because if this thing fills up, it will stop running and because it won't have anywhere to put the inventory. Alright, and now we made 2 stack upgrades, so we can pop those in there. We just made 2 irons, but as you can see, it can hold, each slot can now hold 1024 of a single block. And just by letting this run while we made the stack upgrades, we now have 38 raw iron and 1 emerald. So we're going to start getting emeralds passively too. That's awesome. So some other things that you can do with this builder as well is, once again, we can infuse it. As we get more dimensional shards, we can break this, put the infuser down and infuse this machine so it uses less power and it's more efficient. But we can also upgrade our clearing card to a fortune clearing card. So that way we can get more materials out of everything that we're mining. You can also set up a clearing silk quarry, so it'll silk touch everything. And quite a few other things. The builder is a really cool tool because you can also use shape cards to build things with it, which we will do later on in this series. Maybe build some type of tower with it and maybe a dome and, you know, just some really cool different things with it. But that's going to be the end of this episode. We got quite a bit accomplished. We now have some better power and it's not great. It's still just windmills, but we're utilizing it in the sky right above our base, and that means that our ore tripling can run without any power interruptions. And then we set up the builder in the mining dimension. So it's just going to keep clearing this, and it's slow because, well, we're only using 2 wind generators to power it. So not really enough power to keep it going at full capacity, but it's getting the job done. And it's going to passively just get us resources as it continues to clear. So eventually this is going to get down to deep slate, which is going to give us redstone and diamonds and a ton of other materials, as well as uncover all the modium that's down here. So then we can go down and get it. But in order to do that, we're going to need some flight because, well, it's going to get really deep. And we have no way to get there without it. Which means next episode, I think we might venture into a flight pylon to make our life a little easier. We do have a couple different flight options that we could use, like the Mekanism jetpack, or even the modium jetpack. But creative flight is definitely the best option, and really it's kind of the easiest one. So that's probably what we're gonna end up doing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something new this episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't forget to join our Discord as well while we're playing all the mods on a server with quite a few of us playing, and it's been a ton of fun. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Later.